The history of the printing press is a fascinating story of innovation and transformation. The printing press is a device that allows for the mass production of printed materials, such as books, newspapers, and pamphlets. It uses movable type, which are individual letters or symbols that can be arranged and reused to form different texts. The printing press was invented in different places and times, but the most famous and influential one was created by Johannes Gutenberg in Europe in the 15th century. Gutenberg's printing press used metal type and a wooden screw press, which was based on the ancient wine and olive press. He printed the first complete book in the West, the Gutenberg Bible, in 1455. However, Gutenberg was not the first to invent the printing press or the movable type. In fact, the origins of printing can be traced back to China, where paper and ink were invented. The oldest known printed book is the Diamond Sutra, a Buddhist text from China dated to 868 AD. It was made by woodblock printing, which involved carving the text and images on wooden blocks and pressing them on paper. Woodblock printing was also used in Japan and Korea, where metal movable type was also developed. The earliest known book printed with metal movable type is the Jikji, a collection of Buddhist teachings from Korea dated to 1377. It was made by a method called Bai Sheng, which was invented by a Chinese scholar in the 11th century. Bai Sheng used clay type that was baked and arranged on an iron frame. The printing press and the movable type evolved over time and across different regions, and they contributed to the advancement of civilization and culture. The printing press is still used today, although it has been replaced by more modern technologies such as digital printing and electronic publishing. The printing press remains a symbol of human creativity and communication. The invention of the printing press revolutionized the way information and ideas were transmitted and preserved. The printing press enabled the mass production of books and other printed materials, which had profound effects on various aspects of society and culture, such as education, science, religion, art, and politics. The printing press was not invented by a single person or at a single time. Rather, it was the result of a long process of experimentation and improvement, involving different technologies and cultures. The main components of the printing press are the paper, the ink, the type, and the press. Paper and ink were invented in China. Probably around the 2nd century AD. Paper was made from plant fibers, such as hemp, bamboo, or mulberry, that were soaked, beaten, and pressed into thin sheets. Ink was made from soot, glue, and water, and sometimes mixed with other substances, such as wax, resin, or pigments. Paper and ink were essential for the development of writing and printing, as they provided a durable and versatile medium for recording and reproducing texts and images, where it was further developed and refined by Johannes Gutenberg, a German goldsmith and inventor. Gutenberg is widely regarded as the father of the printing press, as he introduced several innovations that made the printing process more efficient and effective. Gutenberg's printing press consisted of 4 main elements: the paper, the ink, the type, and the press. The paper that Gutenberg used was imported from Italy, where it was made from cotton or linen rags. The paper was cheaper and more abundant than parchment, which was made from animal skin and was the main writing material in Europe at the time. The paper was also smoother and thinner than the Asian paper, which made it more suitable for printing. The ink that Gutenberg used was different from the water-based ink used in Asia, as it was oil-based and had a sticky consistency. The oil-based ink adhered better to the metal type and produced sharper and darker impressions on the paper. The ink was also more resistant to fading and smudging. The ink was made from various materials, such as linseed oil, turpentine, soot, and pigments. The type that Gutenberg used was made from an alloy of lead, tin, and antimony, which had a low melting point and a high durability. Gutenberg devised a method of mass-producing the type by using a hand mold, which consisted of a matrix and a punch. The matrix was a metal plate with a cavity in the shape of a letter, which was made by striking it with a punch, which was a metal rod with a raised letter at the end. Gutenberg made thousands of pieces of type, which he stored in wooden cases. He then arranged the type on a wooden tray, which he locked into an iron frame. He applied ink to the type and pressed a sheet of paper on top, producing a printed page. The press that Gutenberg used was based on the ancient wine and olive press, which was a common device in Europe. The press consisted of a wooden screw, which was turned by a long handle. The screw exerted downward pressure against the paper, which was laid over the type mounted on a wooden platen. The press was operated by two workers, one who turned the screw and one who fed and removed the paper. Gutenberg's press and others of its era in Europe could print about 250 sheets per hour on one side.